There you are. Professor Darwin Danglebury here, see? Today we'll be covering another ink by Conway Stewart. And today we'll be having a look at this ink. It's the same box I've shown you yesterday. No, not yesterday. It was last week. Was it last week? Last month. It was last year. Well, I've shown you this box before. It has the Union Jack. It has a nib. It's a Conway Stewart, one of those new Conway Stewart inks. I like it. It's Kingsand. Kingsand. That's the name of the ink. I thought that's a fairly odd name, Kingsand. Why don't they call it Kingsand? And then I realized what they're trying to imply is this ink is fit for Kingsand. You see? So it's like a royal ink. So you feel royal. If you feel royal, you buy an ink. That's how it works. It's probably how it works. Kingsand, yes. So very nice ink. You pop open the box. Very easy. You take out the ink. And you get that nice little bottle. You've seen the bottle before. I'll try to do a close up of the label. Conway Stewart. You see? Very nice. I like the ink. And this is the Kingsand. So, Kingsand, a very interesting ink. It's a brown ink. I tend to be a relatively fan of brown, some browns at least. Not every brown, it has to be red brown, not sure about. But it's as to inks, I kind of like it. I think it's fascinating, and it shades pretty well. It dries fairly quickly, so it's a pretty interesting ink. So I think that what we should do right now is do an extended writing sample. And that's what we're going to do, an extended or extensive writing sample. So I hope that's going to be useful, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Bye. Yes, well, there we go. Let me see. What have we got today? Today we've got Conway Stewart. Kingsand. Right, we start with some fine writing. The Kingsand U. The ink is lovely. Something you may be able to pick up from this very simple writing sample with fine nib only is that it actually shades. The ink shades well, even in a fine nib, I would say. It has some shading, which is quite nice. Let's move on to a somewhat wider nib in the form of a medium. Kingsand U ink is lovely, quite lovely. Broad nib, even better. Quite a nice, interesting, vibrant brown, I would say. This was the italic. And finally we should go for a little bit of flex. I think that should be enough. Then let us do a couple of passes with a 6mm nib. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Alright, and then while we are at it, we may as well do a little bit of calligraphy, sort of. I'm not very good at this sort of thing. I'm more of a scholar, you see. Not an artist. Okay, for Kingsand. Then we'll do a little bit of writing. Nearly was was off camera. Anyway, so that's one thing. And, well, we should be waiting until this dries. As you can see, this seems to be drying already. It's a fairly fast drying ink, which I enjoy. Also, you see some very odd spots in there. It looks a bit like leprosy. I don't know what it is exactly, but it is a little bit unsettling. I don't know what. Anyway, since this is dry, we're going to do a second part. There we go. Then, I think it would be a good idea to start right here with what is colloquially known as the eyedropper of death, you see. Wait a minute, I still don't get these tests right. This was supposed to be the bastard brush, wasn't it? Well, you know what? Then we're going to do the bastard brush on this last bit, and we'll be doing the eyedropper of death right there. Once it's dry. It's not dry yet. Here we go with the bastard brush. Let me indicate this as follows. Eyedropper of death. Bastard brush. Everyone will know. Right. Let me see. Is this dry? It looks dry? No, it's not dry. It's not dry yet. We just have to wait for a bit. In the meanwhile, we can do something that I know, for some reason, a lot of you are looking forward to. And that is, of course, the Tardif test. I think I'd have done a much better job here than that, as we are a brown fellow, in making a nice even patch of ink there, but that's, I will not stress the matter. Finally, there's one thing we have to do. That would usually be the brown benchmark, but as I don't stick my fingers in other people's inkwells, I have to do something else. So what I'll be doing is the Tarquin test, with the cotton thing, you know, the little thing that you use for this kind of thing. There we go. Is this dry yet? Is it dry? Yes, it's dry. Okay, so, eyedropper of death. The rematch. There we go. And while all of those tests are drying, or otherwise, I think it's time we do a little bit of a scorecard. Cleaning. Have done that before. Easy. Cleaning is good. Bleed through. We have to look at that later, you see. Colour. Well, I don't know. I think it's brown. Sorry, did anyone call me? No, not you, Brown. Go away. Go away. We don't need you. Go away. Oh, sorry. Shading. What have we got? Shading. Shading. Let me see. How do we like the shading? Well, I would say shading is actually quite good. That's what I would say. I mean, if you look at these nice things with the italic, the broad, and the flex, you see some interesting shading. It's not the best in the world, perhaps, but it's definitely not the worst. I love the way this shades. It's a very interesting, nice, going from a fairly light brown to a much darker brown. I absolutely love this. And I think it's a pretty interesting shading. While we are here, let's do a third part. For the saturation later on. There we go. Alright. Maybe we also need to get rid of some of this excess water. Because it's annoying me. Alright. Let me see, what was I doing? I was going shading. Well, shading is good. I would say shading is good. Shading. Good. Then we have flow. Flow is very good. Had no issues whatsoever. Started up straight away, no hard start, no issues. Feathering. We'll have to see about that later, won't we? Drying time. Well, I'd say that's good. Here we have, this is from a cotton swab. As you can see, it's pretty much dry. Pretty much. There was a little bit there, but that's, you know, a lot of ink. So I would say drying time is good. And the waterproofness. I have to assess that now. Waterproofness, you see. There we go. Waterproofness. Well, the writing is gone, isn't it? It's all gone. Look at this. It's gone. It's gone. There's nothing. So the writing has, sadly, the eye drop of death has eradicated it. You see the same thing going on here. And where the bastard brush left a little bit more intact, but still, if you would pour this into water, your writing would be gone. So waterproofness is poor. Okay, so what can we conclude from all the tests? Well, we have the tar-diff test. The tar-diff test seems to show us that we get a nice ink, some nice shading from a lighter brown to a much darker brown, which I quite appreciate. We have an ink that is not necessarily the most waterproof ink. Again, here, the three passes, we see something from a nice light brown, something that's much darker and very saturated nib. You see that in the flex nib, for example, and I absolutely love it. I think this is a wonderful ink. So, what I would like to do now is get rid of this page. Well, not really get rid of it, just taking it out of the notepad and grabbing some cheaper paper. Let me see. We should start with some fine writing. Hello? Who's here? What are you doing? Lord Windermere, we're in the middle of a recording, please. Oh, is she recording? Let me see, is this the camera? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just dropping by. I was wondering what you'd like to have for lunch, mate. For lunch, Lord Windermere, it's about 10 o'clock here. Please, I'm not thinking about lunch. Well, I am. It's never too early to think about food. So what are you thinking of? I was thinking that maybe have some crab salad. Crab salad? Yes, crab salad. But you're a crustacean, Lord Windermere. Yeah, I know, but the problem is that crabs... The problem with crabs is that they kind of... I don't like them. I mean, it's nothing wrong with the lobster. We're nice, we're big, we're sort of elongated, but the crab is too... It's quite a flat, you know, it's kind of a flat animal. And the only problem is that they kind of walk sideways. I mean, can you imagine walking to work like this? I mean, sliding around like that. I mean, you can just walk forward, right? I mean, that's the only issue. So I don't really like them, crabs, so I was thinking crab salad. Yes, well, I suppose a crab salad would do excellent. Any particular sauce you had in mind? Well, I came up with something. I don't know yet. I don't know about sauce. I come here. Can I ask you what you want to eat? You tell me what to eat. You're asking me about sauce. I don't know anything about sauce. I come up with something. How about that? Well, yes, I suppose that would work. A crab salad with some type of, I don't know, dressing. You come up with something. I'm sure. Yeah, I will. How about you finish up the test? I mean, people are watching. People are watching you. You just interrupt your test. You just keep going. I mean, all I was asking was lunch. I mean, you could have finished this while we was talking. So I mean, you just go on, and I'll be off then, eh? Lads and lasses, this is Lord Windermere. I wish you a very nice day, and sorry about the interruption. It was not actually planned. Sorry. I'll bugger off then. Bye. Lord bloody Windermere. I mean, that lobster, he'll be the end of me one day. He shows up in the most annoying places. Nobody expects him. Suddenly he's there. Did you notice his top hat was gone? Yes. Well, the sad story is that the top hat is at the laundry. You see, actually, he spilled. He was okay, he didn't actually spill anything. He was eating soup. You were eating soup yesterday. He topples over. The top hat falls into the soup, you see. Now, the top hat has to go to the laundry. It's terrible. I'll stop there, but it's drives me insane. Anyway, I love Lord Windermere. It's my favourite pet, of course, but still. We have some copy of paper. We have some fine writing. Lord Windermere eats soup. How about a little bit of medium writing? Yes, medium writing, I would say. Medium writing. Lord Windermere eats a salad. Salad. Bloody hell, I can't even write. Salad. Broad. Lord Windermere eats crab. I knew about his hang-up with crabs. I'm sorry about that. I have nothing against crabs myself, you see, but apparently Lord Windermere has some kind of thing going on, a deep hatred. I don't know what it is. I should probably send him to a psychologist or something. Lord Windermere hates crabs. You're damn right I hate crabs. There are bloody crabs everywhere. I mean, sorry for interrupting yet again, but I mean, crabs. Have you ever had a good look at a crab? They look like morons, really. I mean, they look kind of weird. They're sort of flat, and I just don't like the way they look. They look uncanny. Ever noticed they look uncanny, crab? Uncanny, they should call it uncrabby, because it's all weird, and they're so flat, and they're quite red. Well, you're quite red, aren't you? Yeah, but it's different. I mean, I'm like a nice red, and the crab, it's like, I don't know, it's an odd, strange red. I just don't like it. I just don't like crabs. I mean, it's an odd species. I don't like him. I would sort of abolish them. You would abolish crabs altogether, Lord Windermere? Well, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, what's the crab ever done for us? It has done nothing. It's done nothing. It's completely useless. So I would abandon them all. Yes. Well, thank you, Lord Windermere. I just love you. I think it's a very good idea if you just go away for a second and let me finish the ink. You know, the encyclopedia. Oh yeah, well, I'm sorry. I was only giving my opinion. I mean, you invite me, you talk about crabs all the time. I just want to give an informed opinion because I happen to be a crustacean. Apparently it's not really, appreciated or anything. I just come here, yes, thank you, Lord Windermere, thank you. You're absolutely right. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bloody crustaceans, God. Anyway, this was italic. And then finally, the last thing we should do is a bit of flex writing. Flex writing. It says bobster. It should have said lobster. For some reason, when I write the word lobster, I always write bobster. I don't know what that is. Sorry about that. Okay, well then, maybe we should do a little bit of fat writing and see what remains and what we get in the terms of feathering, because I already see some feathering at the flex writing. You see that? In the regular writing we seem to be okay, but in the flex writing there's a little bit of feathering going on. So what we have here is the word crab. I just thought I'd see whether we get any more feathering in here, and I actually think we got some right there. The ink is drying up, of course, but let's see. I mean, even the paper doesn't like the word crab. It's all the crabs, bloody crabs every time. You see that? You know, see what happens. You see, because here you get your bloody feathering right there. You got it right there. You see it there. It's right there. It's because of the word crab. That's the only issue. It's probably not about the ink. It's about the word crab. Crab is just crap, basically. Yes. Thank you, Lord Windermere. Thank you. Please, just prepare our salad for heaven's sakes. Lobster's driving me insane. Crab. So we have the word crab. Well, there is a little bit of feathering. It's not spectacular. There's nothing particularly odd going on. It's not extremely feathery. But there is indeed a bit of feathering. Now, finally, I'm going to write the last word of today. Crab. I will do some flexi writing. If at all the pen would write. Salad. speaking of which, it's just about ready. I think your salad is out. You can... Lord Windermere, please, I'm finishing up the encyclopedia, then we'll have our salad. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I didn't know you would be offended. Bloody hell, I was only saying your salad... Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Lord Windermere. There we go. So we have the salad. You see feathering here, right there. You see it? That's feathering from the flex writing. Okay, so what about the bleed through? I just have to get rid of this. So there we go. Bleed through. Well, that's quite a lot of bleed through, isn't there? A lot with the very bold writing, the flex writing, italic writing is okay. The broad writing definitely is some bleed through. So there is some bleed through, but this is copy of paper. If we were to take this rhodia paper, there's hardly any bleed through. Hardly any bleed through. Look at that. There's just a little bit there, but that's I don't know what that is. Oh, that's my Tarquin test. So that doesn't really count. I think that looks quite good. So I think we can say that bleed through is okay, unless you use a really broad nib on cheaper paper, but then you will get bleed through anyway. Feathering. Well, on the cheap paper there is some, but only when you do extreme things, like really broad writing or flex writing, but with regular writing I don't see any feathering. So I think the ink is pretty well behaved. Feathering is okay. No. Feathering is good, I would say. It's not really an issue. Okay, well then the final thing we have to do is compare this ink to another ink, and I found it quite difficult to find something that was a little bit in this league. I thought of Germain Lit de Thé, but that's a somewhat different colour. It has the nice feathering, but it's a different colour. So what we have here is that Conway Stewart Kingsand. And the comparison ink I chose today, I'm hoping it's going to write. Let me just test that pen off the camera. Yes, there we go. Is Germain. It doesn't write. It just wrote. It wrote off the camera. It doesn't write here. There we go. Germain Café des Îles. I do speak French. I deny the existence of France, but I do speak the language. We have physical proof the language exists, at least. There we go. So, I think what we have here are two fairly comparable inks. Do you agree? I would agree. Yeah, I agree too. Yes, thank you, Lord Windermere, please, please. I think this is a very nice ink too. Café des Îles, a very brown. That may sound ridiculous, but I mean some browns are more, I don't know, greenish or have some other colours, or maybe too light to my taste. I think this is a very nice brown. I think the Conway Stewart brown is very nice, and I absolutely love the two actually. So this would be possibly an alternative for you if you cannot get the Conway Stewart. Alright, so there we have it. I would say this is a very nice ink, some nice shading we've got going. I like the way it performs. I hope this is useful to you in some way, possibly. Encyclopedia entry for Conway Stewart Kingsand, and that's all there's to it. So I will probably see you next week for the next Encyclopedia entry. Bye bye. Yeah, I'd just like to chip in for a second. I think next week we're going to be discussing Botmin. Botmin is a black ink. Black ink's not for everyone, you see. Some people don't like black. They think it's a boring ink. I personally like it. I personally like covering crabs in black ink. I think that's kind of fun, and make them look even more ridiculous. Because I mean, a completely black crab looks kind of weird. It may try to make a mental image of that. So I think that's what we're going to be doing next week. Probably not covering a crab because that's not allowed. You know, animal rights stuff and all that rubbish. But we can use that ink. It's a funny ink, and I hope to see you all there. Sorry about the interruptions, but they were crucial. I have to educate people on the stupidity of crabs, you see. So I'm sorry about that, but it was. I hope it was educational. So I'm going to see you later. Bye bye from Lord Windermere. Bye bye. I'm going to have me a crab salad now. Oh, I'm looking forward to that.